He is the most-watched streamer in the history of the internet, a titan of content who signed a $100 million deal, placing him in the same league as sports icons like LeBron James. He has a speculated net worth of $500 million, a collection of supercars, and a legion of fans who call themselves the Juicers. He is also, as one documentary put it, the loneliest millionaire on the internet. A man who has been terrorized by daily police raids, dragged through a brutal public divorce, and has openly admitted to wagering over $3 billion in a crippling gambling addiction. This is the story of Félix Lengyel, a French-Canadian kid who dropped out of college, only to become the biggest and most controversial star the internet has ever seen. A hero to his fans, a villain to his critics, a king of a digital empire, and a prisoner of his own fame. This is the story of xQc, and it is the story of the price of the juice. Before the chaos, before the millions, there was just Félix. Born November 12, 1995, in the quiet suburbs of Laval, Quebec, Canada. His parents, of Hungarian descent, divorced when he was just 1 year old. He and his older brother, Nicholas, grew up in shared custody, shuttling between two homes. By his own admission, Félix was directionless. He enrolled in a business administration program at a local college, but the traditional path held little appeal. He was, in his own words, lost. Like many of his generation, he found his escape not in textbooks, but in the glowing pixels of a computer screen. He started with games like League of Legends, but it was a new platform, a vibrant, chaotic world called Twitch, that would become his true calling. It was 2014. He was 19 years old. He didn't know it yet, but he was about to build an empire. Félix's ascent was meteoric. He wasn't just playing games, he was dominating them. His chosen arena was Overwatch, a new hero shooter from Blizzard Entertainment. As xQc, a name derived from the last letter of his first name, X, and the abbreviation for his home province, Quebec, QC, he was a prodigy. His aggressive, high-octane style on the game's main tank characters, particularly Winston, was mesmerizing. He was a whirlwind of primal rage and calculated chaos. In 2017, he led the underdog Team Canada to the finals of the Overwatch World Cup, a stunning performance that earned him the tournament's Most Valuable Player award. The professional leagues came calling. On October 28, 2017, xQc was announced as the final member of the Dallas Fuel, one of the 12 founding teams in the brand-new multimillion-dollar Overwatch League. It was his big break. The college dropout was now a salaried professional athlete in one of the most anticipated esports leagues in history. But the unfiltered, chaotic persona that made him a star on Twitch clashed violently with the polished, corporate world of professional esports. The dream quickly became a nightmare. The controversies were immediate and relentless. Even before the season began, he was hit with a 72-hour suspension for misusing the in-game reporting system, followed by a 7-day ban for throwing games on stream. Then, in January 2018, after a loss to a rival team, xQc directed homophobic slurs at an openly gay opponent on his personal stream. The league's response was swift: a 4-match suspension and a $2,000 fine. Dallas Fuel extended the suspension for the entire first stage of the season. He returned, but not for long. In March, he was suspended again, this time for using a racially disparaging emote on the official league stream. Another $4,000 fine. Another 4-match ban. He had called the league and its players a cancer online. The league had had enough. On March 11, 2018, just 4.5 months after signing him, the Dallas Fuel officially released Félix Lengyel. The dream was over. Fired. Disgraced. The villain of the Overwatch League. Fired from professional gaming, most careers would be over. But for xQc, it was just the beginning. He returned to Twitch, not with his tail between his legs, but with a vengeance. Freed from corporate oversight, he leaned into the chaos. He was raw, unfiltered, and utterly captivating. His streams became legendary, a whirlwind of high-stakes gameplay, bizarre internet videos, Reddit recaps, and unfiltered reactions, often lasting 10, 12, even 16 hours a day. He wasn't just a streamer. He was a content machine, a living, breathing embodiment of internet culture. And the world couldn't look away. His popularity exploded. For 3 consecutive years, 2020, 2021, and 2022, he was the single most watched streamer on the entire Twitch platform. The numbers were staggering. In 2020, his channel accumulated 174 million hours watched. In 2021, that number skyrocketed to 274 million hours. In 2022, he maintained his dominance with 224 million hours. His peak concurrent viewership reached an astonishing 330,068 viewers. In 2021 alone, his channel was watched for a combined 274 million hours. That's over 31,000 years of content consumed in a single year. An official Twitch earnings leak in October 2021 confirmed his dominance, revealing he had made over $8 million in just 2 years from the platform alone. This was before his biggest payday. He was, without question, the king of Twitch. But the kingdom was built on a foundation of chaos, and the king himself was spiraling. With millions pouring in, xQc developed a new obsession: gambling. It started as sponsored content, a lucrative but controversial corner of the streaming world. He partnered with Stake.com, a crypto-based online casino. His $100 million deal with their sister company, Kick, would later include mandatory gambling streams. But what started as a sponsorship soon morphed into a severe public addiction. He wasn't just playing for show, he was losing, and losing big. In May 2022, he admitted on stream to losing $2 million in a single month. The confession was so alarming that his own father called him live on air, his voice filled with concern, asking if his son was okay. The full scale of his habit was revealed in September 2024. In a moment of shocking transparency, he shared his lifetime statistics on Stake. He had wagered nearly $3 billion, over 1 million individual bets, with an average size of over $2,500. His win rate was a dismal 10%. The estimated losses, over $100 million. Critics and fellow streamers were horrified. They accused him of promoting a dangerous addiction to his young, impressionable audience. Many alleged he wasn't even using his own money, but house money provided by the casino to lure in new victims. xQc remained defiant. His home province of Quebec took action, banning him from all casinos in the region. In a moment of surreal dark comedy, he was escorted out of a Montreal casino while celebrating his own birthday with his family. The king of Twitch was now a known gambling addict, unapologetic and richer than ever. While xQc's online world was thriving, his real world was crumbling into a paranoid nightmare. He became a constant target of swatting, a dangerous and illegal prank where anonymous callers send armed police to a streamer's home under false pretenses, such as a hostage situation or bomb threat. While living in Austin, Texas, the situation escalated to an unimaginable degree. He was being swatted almost daily. In his own words, "We were getting raided by the police station at rates that made absolutely no sense. Almost every day, the police came to our house with a full squad. I was genuinely scared I was going to die." The threat became so constant that xQc and the local police developed a chilling routine. He would give a visual signal on his stream, and officers would silently clear his house, room by room, while he continued to entertain his viewers, who were none the wiser. The king of Twitch was a prisoner in his own home. He was forced to move multiple times, but the terror followed him. An armed intruder broke into one of his homes. During the 2022 Reddit r/place event, where he directed his community to take over a section of the digital canvas, he received more death threats in a single hour than he had in the previous 6 years combined. The constant fear took a heavy toll on his mental health. He spoke openly about severe anxiety, night terrors, and the crushing loneliness of his isolated existence. The world saw a millionaire gamer. The reality was a young man living in a state of perpetual fear. As if the gambling and swatting weren't enough, xQc's personal life descended into a new level of public chaos with the spectacular disintegration of his long-term relationship with Samantha Lopez, known as Adept. Their final breakup in September 2022 was a public spectacle, an emotional, tear-filled argument broadcast live on stream. But the drama was just beginning. What followed was a brutal, year-long legal war that would threaten to cut his empire in half. Adept claimed that although they were never formally married, they had a common law marriage under Texas law. This legal argument, if successful, would entitle her to a significant portion of his massive earnings. The battle played out in a storm of restraining orders, a court-issued gag order, and eventually accusations of sexual assault filed by Adept against xQc. The conflict centered on his assets, most famously, his $300,000 McLaren supercar, which was registered in Adept's name. The fight for the car became a symbol of the entire war. At one point, Adept showed up at his house while he was live, banging on the door and claiming he was violating a court order by having the vehicle. With his assets frozen and facing the potential loss of half his fortune, xQc was pushed to the brink. The case dragged on for over a year. Finally, in December 2023, xQc announced on stream that he had won. The court found the common law marriage claim invalid and the assault case was dropped. But the war isn't over. In late 2024, Adept filed a new lawsuit in California, this time seeking a $10 million settlement for alleged defamatory statements. The $100 million divorce, it seems, is a battle with no end. In June 2023, just as the dust was settling from his legal battles, xQc shocked the world again. He signed a 2-year, non-exclusive deal with the new streaming platform Kick, worth a staggering $100 million. It was the largest streaming deal in history, a contract bigger than that of many professional athletes. Today, Félix Lengyel continues to dominate the streaming world. He remains a deeply controversial figure, recently sparking outrage for calling VTubers disgusting. In a final, ironic twist, he became a 25% part owner of the very same no-pixel GTA RP server that had permanently banned him years earlier. He is a walking, talking, content machine who has found a way to separate xQc, the chaotic online persona, from Félix, the man who has endured it all. So who is xQc? A hero or a villain? A gaming prodigy or a toxic product of internet culture? A business genius or a gambling addict? Perhaps he is all of these things and none of them. He is the embodiment of the modern celebrity. A man who built an empire by broadcasting every moment of his life, sacrificing his privacy, his peace, and his relationships for the sake of the content. For the sake of the juice. He beat the odds, he won the game, but the story of xQc is a cautionary tale about the staggering price of fame in the digital age. He may be the king of the internet, but he is a king who built his throne on a foundation of chaos, controversy, and unimaginable wealth. And he reigns, for now, alone. But the story of xQc's controversies doesn't end with the Overwatch League. In fact, it was just the beginning. His Twitch career would be marked by a seemingly endless series of bans, suspensions, and public feuds that would make him one of the most polarizing figures in streaming history. Let's talk about the bans. xQc has been suspended from Twitch at least 7 times. Each ban tells a story of a man who simply cannot or will not follow the rules. In June 2019, he was banned for stream sniping during a Fall Guys tournament. Stream sniping is when a player watches another streamer's broadcast to gain an unfair advantage. The ban was only 24 hours, but it set a pattern. In November 2020, he received another suspension for watching copyrighted content on stream, specifically the movie Ratatouille. This practice of react content would become a major controversy in the streaming world, with xQc at the center of it. In January 2021, he was banned from the popular GTA roleplay server NoPixel for repeatedly breaking server rules. His character, Jean Paul, became infamous for power gaming and fail RP. Essentially, playing to win rather than playing to create interesting stories. The ban was permanent, though as we know, he would later become a part owner of the very server that kicked him out. In April 2021, he was suspended again for airing spoilers for a popular video game. In October 2021, another ban for DMCA violations. The pattern was clear. xQc would push boundaries, get banned, return, and push again. His feuds with other streamers became legendary. He clashed publicly with Pokimane, Hassan Piker, Ludwig, and countless others. Some feuds were playful, others were genuinely hostile. His rapid-fire, often incoherent rants became meme material, with fans creating compilations of his most unhinged moments. The gambling controversy deserves deeper examination. When Twitch announced in September 2022 that it would ban gambling streams featuring slots, roulette, and dice games, many saw it as a direct response to xQc and other streamers who had been promoting crypto casinos. The ban specifically targeted sites like stake.com, xQc's primary sponsor. But xQc found a loophole. He moved much of his gambling content to Kick, the new platform backed by the same company that owns Stake. Critics accused him of essentially creating a pipeline to funnel his young audience toward gambling. Supporters argued he was simply an entertainer doing what entertainers do. The numbers behind his gambling are worth examining in detail. $3 billion wagered. Think about that number for a moment. If you spent $1 every second, it would take you over 95 years to spend $3 billion. xQc wagered that amount in just a few years of streaming. His average bet was over $2,500. He placed over 1 million individual bets. That's roughly one bet every 3 minutes if he gambled 8 hours a day for a year straight. The scale is almost incomprehensible. And yet, despite losing an estimated $100 million, he remains one of the wealthiest streamers in the world. This paradox speaks to the staggering amount of money flowing through the streaming industry and to xQc's unique ability to monetize chaos. The r/place incident of 2022 deserves special attention. Reddit's r/place is a collaborative canvas where users can place one pixel at a time. It's meant to be a peaceful, collaborative art project. xQc turned it into a battlefield. He directed his army of followers to systematically destroy other communities' artwork, replacing it with his own designs. The backlash was immediate and intense. He received thousands of death threats. His personal information was leaked online. The incident became a case study in the power and danger of parasocial relationships. But xQc didn't back down. He never backs down. That's perhaps his defining characteristic, an absolute refusal to apologize, to moderate, to conform. Whether you see this as admirable authenticity or dangerous recklessness depends entirely on your perspective. His relationship with his community, the Juicers, is complex. They are fiercely loyal, often to a fault. They will defend him against any criticism, attack his perceived enemies, and spend countless hours watching his streams. In return, he gives them entertainment, a sense of belonging, and the vicarious thrill of watching someone live without limits. Critics argue this relationship is exploitative. They point to the young demographics of his audience, the gambling promotion, the toxic behavior that gets normalized. Supporters counter that xQc is simply being himself, and that viewers have the agency to watch or not watch. The mental health aspect cannot be ignored. xQc has spoken openly about his struggles with anxiety, depression, and the toll that constant online harassment takes. He streams for 10 to 16 hours a day, often sleeping only 4 to 5 hours. His diet, by his own admission, is terrible. His lifestyle is unsustainable by any normal measure. And yet, he continues, day after day, year after year. The content never stops. The chaos never ends. It's as if he's trapped in a machine of his own creation, unable to step off the treadmill even if he wanted to. His move to Kick in 2023 was seen by many as a betrayal of Twitch, the platform that made him famous. But xQc has never been loyal to platforms or institutions. He's loyal only to the content, to the juice, to the endless pursuit of engagement and entertainment. The $100 million deal with Kick was unprecedented. To put it in perspective, that's more than most NFL quarterbacks make in their entire careers. It's more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes. And it was given to a college dropout from Quebec who plays video games and yells at his computer. Some see this as the ultimate success story. Others see it as a symptom of a broken system that rewards controversy over substance. The truth, as always with xQc, is probably somewhere in between. The business empire of xQc extends far beyond streaming. He has built a diversified portfolio that would make any entrepreneur envious. His merchandise line generates millions in revenue. His YouTube channel, where highlights from his streams are posted, has over 2.4 million subscribers and generates additional ad revenue. He has invested in various gaming and tech startups, though the details remain private. The NoPixel ownership stake is perhaps the most ironic of his business moves. The GTA roleplay server that permanently banned him for rule-breaking now counts him as a 25% owner. It's a perfect metaphor for xQc's career. He doesn't just break the rules, he eventually owns the game. His real estate holdings are substantial. He has owned properties in Texas, California, and Canada, though the constant swatting has forced him to maintain extreme secrecy about his actual residence. He reportedly employs a full security team and has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on personal protection. The car collection is legendary among his fans. The McLaren at the center of the Adept dispute was just one of several supercars he has owned. He has been seen driving Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and various other exotic vehicles. For a kid who grew up in suburban Quebec, the transformation is remarkable. But material success hasn't brought peace. In rare moments of vulnerability, xQc has admitted that he's deeply unhappy. The money, the fame, the cars, none of it fills the void. He streams not because he wants to, but because he doesn't know how to stop. This addiction to streaming is perhaps more dangerous than his gambling addiction. At least with gambling, there are clear metrics of loss. With streaming, the losses are harder to quantify. Relationships destroyed, health deteriorated, years of life spent in front of a screen. His sleep schedule is notoriously erratic. He often streams through the night, sleeping during the day, completely disconnected from normal human rhythms. He has admitted to going days without proper sleep, surviving on energy drinks and fast food. The physical toll is visible. Compared to photos from his Overwatch days, he looks noticeably older, more tired, more worn. He's only in his late 20s, but the lifestyle has aged him beyond his years. His family relationships have suffered. While his brother Nick occasionally appears on stream, and his father made that famous concerned phone call, xQc has spoken about feeling disconnected from his family. The fame has created a barrier that's hard to cross. Romantic relationships have been equally difficult. After Adept, he briefly dated another streamer, but that relationship also ended publicly and messily. He has spoken about the difficulty of trusting anyone when you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The parasocial nature of his fame creates its own problems. Millions of people feel like they know him, but he doesn't know any of them. He performs intimacy for hours every day, sharing his thoughts, his reactions, his life, but it's all one-directional. The loneliness of that existence is hard to fathom. His influence on streaming culture is undeniable. He popularized the React content format, where streamers watch videos and provide commentary. He normalized marathon streams that last 12 hours or more. He proved that controversy could be monetized on a massive scale. Whether this influence is positive or negative depends on your perspective. Critics argue he's lowered the bar, encouraging streamers to be more controversial, more extreme, more willing to sacrifice their well-being for content. Supporters argue he's simply the best at what he does, and that imitators will always follow innovators. The streaming industry itself has been transformed by figures like xQc. What was once a niche hobby has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Streamers are now celebrities on par with traditional entertainers, and xQc sits at the top of that pyramid. But pyramids are unstable structures. The streaming landscape is constantly shifting. New platforms emerge, old ones fade. Audiences are fickle. Today's king can be tomorrow's forgotten relic. xQc seems aware of this. His move to Kick, his diversification into business ownership, his willingness to adapt, all suggest a man who knows his position is precarious. The $100 million deal is security, but it's not forever. What comes next for Félix Lengyel? At 29 years old, he's already achieved more than most people dream of. But he's also sacrificed more than most people could imagine. The question isn't whether he can maintain his success. It's whether he can survive it. The streaming world moves fast. Attention spans are short. New stars emerge every day. To stay relevant, xQc must constantly escalate, constantly push boundaries, constantly feed the machine. It's a treadmill that only speeds up. Some former top streamers have stepped back, prioritizing their health and relationships over content. xQc shows no signs of doing the same. If anything, his output has only increased since the Kick deal. The gambling continues. The controversies continue. The streams continue. Day after day, hour after hour, the content flows. The juicers watch. The money accumulates. And Félix Lengyel, the kid from Laval who just wanted to play video games, remains trapped in the spotlight he created. The story of xQc is, in many ways, the story of the internet itself. It's a story of unprecedented opportunity and unprecedented danger, of connection and isolation, of fame and loneliness, of wealth and emptiness. He represents a new kind of celebrity, one that didn't exist a generation ago. Traditional celebrities are manufactured by studios and record labels, their images carefully curated and controlled. xQc manufactured himself in real time in front of millions of viewers. Every mistake, every triumph, every breakdown, all of it broadcast live. This transparency is both his greatest asset and his greatest vulnerability. His fans feel like they truly know him because, in a sense, they do. They've watched him at his best and his worst. They've seen him win and lose. They've witnessed his relationships form and crumble. But this transparency comes at a cost. There's no separation between the performer and the person. No backstage where he can drop the act and be himself. The performance never ends because the performance is his life. The psychological implications are profound. Studies have shown that constant public scrutiny can lead to anxiety, depression, and a distorted sense of self. xQc exhibits all of these symptoms. He's spoken about feeling like two different people, xQc the streamer and Félix the human being. The gambling addiction is perhaps the most visible manifestation of deeper issues. Gambling provides the same dopamine rush as streaming, the thrill of risk, the excitement of potential reward. For someone who has built their life around constant stimulation, gambling is a natural extension. But unlike streaming, gambling has clear losers. And despite his wealth, xQc is losing. $100 million in losses is staggering, even for someone worth $500 million. At some point, the math catches up. The legal battles with Adept reveal another dimension of his struggles. Here was someone he loved, someone he shared his life with, now an adversary in a bitter court battle. The public nature of their conflict, the streams, the accusations, the restraining orders, turned private pain into public spectacle. This is the price of living your life online. Every relationship becomes content. Every conflict becomes drama. Every personal moment becomes public property. There's no privacy, no sanctuary, no escape. And yet, millions of people would trade places with him in a heartbeat. The money, the fame, the freedom to do whatever he wants. It's the modern dream. xQc has achieved what countless others aspire to. This contradiction lies at the heart of his story. He has everything and nothing. He's surrounded by millions of fans but profoundly alone. He's achieved unprecedented success but seems deeply unhappy. Perhaps that's the real lesson of xQc's story. Success, as our culture defines it, doesn't guarantee fulfillment. Money doesn't buy happiness. Fame doesn't cure loneliness. All the supercars and streaming deals in the world can't fill the void inside. Or perhaps the lesson is simpler. Be careful what you wish for. Félix Lengyel wanted to be famous. He wanted to play video games for a living. He wanted to escape the ordinary life that awaited him in Quebec. He got everything he wanted, and more. The question now is whether he can survive his own success, whether he can find balance in a life built on chaos, whether he can become Félix again, or whether xQc has consumed him entirely. As we conclude this documentary, xQc continues to stream. Right now, as you watch this, he's probably live, entertaining millions, feeding the machine. The content never stops. The juice keeps flowing. He is the most watched streamer in history. He is worth $500 million. He is the king of the internet, and he is, perhaps, the loneliest man on earth. This has been the story of xQc. The The story of Félix Lengyel. The story of a French-Canadian kid who built an empire and lost himself in the process. The story of the price of the juice.